Wow, so this is the second to last Texas Power Up of the year. I'm not sure exactly where the year went. You might feel like that as well, because sometimes it's been really slow and sometimes it's been really fast this year, hasn't it? But this morning, we're going to go ahead and start. We have some great panelists that I want you to hear from. And December's this weird month. Who feels like it's a weird month? Is it weird for anybody else? Like you want to be off, but you know if you take the whole thing off, you're really screwing up your entire first quarter. So it's just this odd little month that we have. So we'll talk about all of that fun stuff as you're jumping on this morning. Hit the reaction button and just raise your hand if you've got someone that you want to shout out on your team. Or outside of your team, or you've got a win that you want to share with everybody, or perhaps just gratitude in general for something. Jaime, I'm going to you first, sir.
Awesome, thank you. So I just want to shout out our whole team, because you just said it right now, December is usually like an off month, and 80% of agents are hibernating right now, and they won't resurface until the 15th of January until they feel it. And I just feel like we're all cranking right now, and that everybody has something that either they're already in motion or it's about to pop. So I'm just excited for everybody on our Houston team for January. So good job, everybody. Good job staying consistent, and I'm proud of every single one of y'all.
I love that. Right on, right on. Way to tackle it, right? Love it. Great job. Jen, good morning. Going to you.
Good morning. I just want to shout out. So I've got 3 people on our team that I think everybody on our team is an incredible human being. Been growing her business like crazy, and she took on at our market center the 3 parades that we participated in. So she was in charge of our float and organizing all of incredible job while running her business, a mother, all the things, right? So just so proud of her. And then my business partner, Chelsea Angelotti, has 3 deals going right now. She's had 1 go under contract, come back out, almost go back under contract, come out, and then go back under contract. She had some incredibly difficult buyers that the day of closing didn't go to the table and wanted to terminate, and all the things, and now they'll be closing tomorrow. She's just resilient and growing like crazy. So super, super proud of her and everything that she's doing. And then Chris Cauda on our team, who, he's always just kind of this quiet, steady guy. And the things that he's doing for his business right now are really impressive. He also had a really difficult deal that he held together, but he also, he did his first live, it's not a broadcast, but that's the word I'm going to use, last night. And I happened to be in the office listening to it while he was doing it. And it was phenomenal. The way that he put it together, the lender that he had, just all the things. And he's going to be uploading it to YouTube to see it. He's going to be doing it once a month. And I'm just so proud of him for not only saying that he was going to do something, which all of us do, right? But not all of us actually do the thing. And he did it. And so I couldn't be prouder of the people that I'm in business with.
Oh my God, I love that, Jen. And you touched on the fact that, man, deals are hard right now. Deals are hard, and your business partners over there are putting them together. Not just putting them together, holding them together by a string sometimes. I don't know if you guys feel like that. And it's really awesome. And then great job, Chris, on saying that you're going to do something and then doing it. That is, man, we are human, right? I'm human, you guys are all human. So easy to fizzle out, right? To start something or to say you're going to do something and then to fizzle out, right? And I'd be careful of that fizzle, right? And the reason I'd be careful, what I tell my kids all the time is, when you say yes to something, you say you're going to do something, and then you fizzle. You do have the grace to be human. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging it, but be aware of it, because it does start to affect your character. You become a person who says yes to things and then doesn't follow through. So be real careful with that. The promises that you make to others and the promises you make to yourself. Elizabeth, going to you.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to shout out Mr. Jordan Poland on our team for teamwork, but also only leaders. So Place is starting some new spaces. So I'm trying to head up the new, we're calling it future innovators. We're not calling it young professionals. We're just like the future of our company. So if you're an agent that wants to be involved in that, I'll put a link in there later. But we had our monthly meeting yesterday. And instead of me moderating everything, I asked Jordan if he wanted to lead because it was about canceled expireds. I don't personally do canceled expireds, and I know he wanted to really level up there. So I really want to commend him for like getting that opportunity. He got to personally interview Mete Granick out of Miami and Anthony Zapata out of Bellingham and ask him all the questions he wanted to. So I just really wanted to, and if you guys knew Jordan 2 years ago, I don't think he would have ever raised his hand to do that. And when I told him, I'm like, I want to ask you something. I want you to get out of your comfort zone a bit. And he was like, uh-oh, what do you want? And then I told him, he was like, oh, absolutely. So even like accepting the opportunity, he was gung-ho about it. So I just want to commend just Jordan for his growth and just being awesome.
Right on. I love that. And Elizabeth, I know just from following you on social media that you did a really cool class. So at some point, I'd love for you to be able to share, obviously the nuggets, because everybody can just go to that class. But maybe some nuggets in the future. I'm going to reach out to you about that. Really,
I do lots of different classes, so I don't know which one you're talking about, but
well,
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, the wealth one that was this week, right?
Yes, yeah, KW Wealth, yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to you for definitely just growing yourself constantly. Like, you are very growth minded. Love that and appreciate that about you. Brandon, I'm going to you.
What's up? First shout out, I wanted to give a shout out to Ray Montenegro. He's our newest agent on our team. He joined us about the middle of the year. But just for Grit, just to give him a shout out on that, he's been following up with people since launch, but got his first deal right after him and his wife had their second baby, like the same week, handled the stress pretty well. And then recently, in the last maybe 4 or 5 days, he's signed 2 listings, 2 buyers, and a couple of these are people he's been following up with since launch. And so He's just staying consistent and doing all the things, right? It's not easy to have 2 young babies in the house and a wife that works and starting a new business and totally new industry. So, he's kicking ass there. Then to Andrew and to you, right? So Andrew Stump on our team and you and the other, Place partners, it's crazy how big the opportunity of our network is if you're willing to bring opportunities to it, right? And so Andrew is really good at identifying good investor properties. I think he reached out to you and a few other people in the company, and someone penned it, right? Someone decided to make a move on the opportunity. And so the savviness, the business, the money, everything's out there in our network, the knowledge. If we bring an opportunity to it, it's a lot easier to meet at that open door, right? Than to, kind of have our heads in the sand, which I've been guilty of that. But yeah, sometimes you just reach out and you'll be surprised what comes back.
I love that. And shout out to Ray, because man, I'm telling you, it is not real estate or being an entrepreneur is not easy, period. Then you add a family, then you add young kids in a family. Oh my gosh, that just gets real exciting. And I know some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So Ray, awesome job. And then to your shout out to Andrew, what I would encourage everyone is, when you have a really good cash flowing property, and I'm like, not just stuff off the MLS, guys. I mean, the one is good and you can't personally buy it at that moment. There are so many operators, so many partners in this company who are always looking. I'm already like, my cash flowed out for the rest of the year. And I said, Andrew, it's awesome. It's not for me, but I know who would want it. Made the connection, and I'm pretty impressed. It was a great deal and they thought so. And so get another one in, or 2 of them in by the end of the year, which I thought was really cool. So great shout out on that.
Well, and he kind of hedged his bet a little bit because he reached out to more than one person. someone he had already sent stuff to in the past. And so not only did he, find the opportunity, try to take it to somebody, you help pay that forward. And then he hedged his bet a little bit. And so, and people want to see the deals, right? And Ben and everybody else is always talking about that. Use it, exploit it in a good way, right? Reach out and see who's there. And like you said, if you can't get it yourself, make it happen for someone else.
Right on. I love that. I love that. Good stuff this morning, guys. I want to give a quick shout out for Maria and Ashley on our team who signed a client and pended them from a sign call, right? I just want to remind everybody, sign calls, man, they work, guys. There's 3 steps. Take the listing, answer your phone, convert the client. Like, it's super, super awesome. And then Louisa, I want to shout her out on our Austin team because she pended clients at like 540,000 from an open house. Open houses absolutely do work. I know there's a feeling of tiredness. And if you feel tired, guess what? You're just human. You're just like everybody else. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just normal. Because it is such a great opportunity to get face to face with people and build that connection, because we're all better in person, guys, right? And last shout out that I want to give is to Mackenzie on our team here in Austin. She's taken over in this year, not just our pending department, but also our listings. So she is doing both pendings and listings and really knocking it out of the park. And, sometimes, out of sight, out of mind, right? I don't know if you guys ever noticed that with our operations and our admin staff, but I just want to shout out all of our administrative and operations staff, because they are putting in the work, you guys, to support us during this really challenging shifted market. And they're stepping up in ways that honestly, most of our agents don't step up in the same way. And I just wanted to give Mackenzie appreciation, and of course, all of our admin and operations staff. Sarissa, I'm going to you.
Just real quick, I had to run away for a second when Jen Smith was talking. Did she mention all the awards their team is up for?
No. Why
I
did
just
you
want to brag on the DFW South team, and I'm trying to find this email really quick, because you guys, they are up. I'm not even joking. For Ellis County, they're up for best customer service, and I mean they've already been they're in the top 5 now. So now it's time that we all go make sure they win. Best customer service, best real estate company against their own market center, y'all. That's cool. Best real estate agent, Dana. Best benefits program, best boss, how cool. Best employee recognition program, best overall leadership, best place to work. I've got 3 more. Best training program, most innovative workplace, and then Dana's up for person of the year in Ellis County. If they just don't sweep a ton of these, I don't know, it's just so cool. So I just want to brag on them and also ask for help, because I know that when you guys are all up for an award, we're all going to go all in for you guys. And so I don't know how I can get that to you guys because it's a long email, but I will. I'll figure it out. So
okay. Absolutely. I love that, Sarissa. I love that. You know what would be easy, Sarissa, is if you, I don't know if you can email on the calendar invite, because that'll go out to everybody on our Texas group that gets it, by the way. Just that will be fast. Just whatever you want to do though. Okay, I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh, good stuff. Just wanted to give you 2 reminders really quick before we jump into our content. Reminder number 1, only about 20 to 30% of our Texas agents use the expired and withdrawn source for their business. I know probably 80 or 90% have it on their business plan, but I think judging on what we actually take as far as business, only about 20 to 30% actually deliver on that and, get intentional with it. So if you are someone who wants to see your business increase by 20 to 25% from a lead gen lever that is gonna be so hot this year, next year, and the year after, because expires and withdrawn are just so incredible right now. Plentiful is the word. Mr. Anthony Zapata is doing his masterclass on expires and withdrawn. The guy sells 50 to 60 properties a year, and he's the co-team leader of the Bellingham team. This guy's the real deal. He's on, I think, at 10:30 our time, just to let you know. But in case you just can't get on, no worries, it's recorded. And I'm just gonna pop in the link right here so that you have it. And then the other one today that I think would be really interesting to you guys is Jake DeRosa usually does script mastery on Thursdays. However, Jake can't do it today. So we have Jason, who we've had him on here before. He's high energy. He is talking about for sale by owners specifically. So if you have for sale by owners on your list of things that you're going to do next year, that you say you're going to do next year, it's going to be really awesome for you to jump in. Or if you are curious about how do people work for sale by owners, somebody as successful as Jason, that's a good one. I'm going to pop that link in here as well. And that one is at, I believe 2:30 today. And if you're wondering, gosh, where do I get all of these? Like, what are you talking about? I'm going to pop that link in. It is the front page of our Place Toolkit. And you just go down and you can find your recordings on anything like Brendan Bouchard stuff is on there. All of the stuff from Built House on there. Like, there's just so much for you. Like, literally, if you want it, it's out there for you. Like, there's no reason why you can't be successful right now. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and spotlight our people this morning. We've got 4 people that I wanted to spotlight, and I want to tell you why. Give me a second so I can remember who's who. Okay, here we go. And I'm just gonna put all 4 of you guys on the screen because it's gonna be exciting to see your faces, of course. Let's see, Tamala, I'm going to you. Let's do add spotlight. Excited to hear from some people we haven't heard from. And then I have one more spotlight. Let me find her, Miss Maria. There we go, and add spotlight. Okay, so I've got 4 spotlights. And here's what I want you to do really quick, because they're going to be quick. They're going to be, they've already been prepped that this isn't like forever. So they're going to go fast. So you want to get your notes out quickly, like right now would be a good time. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you is I would write this down. Number 1, this is what we talked about in our team meeting this week. Number 1, activities that we do in December show up as closings in Q2, not Q1. This is a much longer market, right? So if we stop doing activities in December, in November, in January, it starts messing up our entire Q2. I'm talking like half the year already, we're gonna be like feeling it. Number 2, our appointments for this month, for December, right? That's what drives our January and February closings. So you want to look, and because we're like 8 days into the month, you want to look at like how many appointments have I gone on so far this month, and based on my travel plans and my holiday plans, how many appointments am I going to have in December? Because if I have 0 or not very many, it's going to be really tough to close any deals in January and February. If you don't meet with people, can't close them. So I just wanted to remind everybody of I know it's so simple, but it's so easy to forget, right? Jaime, I'm going to go to you first. Is that okay? All right.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So everybody, Jaime, you all know him. He is BKT Houston. And he's got, we were talking yesterday on our call, and he's got some great people doing some cool things in Houston. And the message today was, what are some creative ways? And I use that word creative, like I'm aware that we shouldn't be creative. So but it's a good buzzword, right? Like you guys tuned in, obviously. Creative in that maybe going the extra mile, maybe extra effort, maybe layering on something that to the effort already, right? And so Jaime, as a door knocking fanatic yourself, I know that you're super excited that you have an agent who is doing door knocking as a main lead gen lever. So tell us a little bit about what your agent does, and then what did it look like before, and what does it look like now? Like, what changes did he make?
Yeah. So everybody, that's Brian Miller. I'm sure you all know that. And I would say the motivation behind that is probably Cheryl Miller. So it's both of them. Right. And, I had to accept the fact that I'm no longer known as the door knocker in the office, and I'm okay with that. Now it is Brian. But I think it was I don't know, maybe a month before our goal planning day where a switch went off. in his brain, in both of them. And he would knock, he would knock about 100, 150 doors a week throughout the first 3/4 of the year. And one day during our one-on-one, he said, I need to step this up. And he did. So he went from 150 doors a week to 500 a week. And he's still, there's some weeks where, weather or, contracts or something happens. And he's always pretty adamant about building that back up. And I have some stats to share with you all about what that's doing to their business, and how it's going to help them just so much in 2023. So in 2022, they took 10 listings from door knocking. And right now, I just checked with them before, they have 4 that are definite coming up already in 2023. There's a potential for 12 based on the people that have said after school lets out, stuff like that for life changes. So, and the other day during our one-on-one or during our team meeting, I said, how many of those came from how many came from the past door knocking from the first 3/4 of the year? And I believe it was 3 of the 12. And the rest came from when the door knocks increased. Now, I mean, that kind of pipeline, if we follow Gary's MREA, 12 listings is going to turn into 24 units just based on the one-to-one. And not only that, it's like they rock the open houses, Cheryl Circle prospects for that. So they do everything around their listings to make that happen. So, that's his one source of lead generation. He doesn't like the dialer, and he's very, I guess he tells that he doesn't hide that, except for, as a door knocker myself, one day it was pouring down rain and I said, peace out, bro. Let me know how it goes. And, and he did get on the dialer that day. So, anyway, but yeah, so it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is about your lead gen strategy. It just showed, the main point of that is showing what happens when you step up the activity. And that's what we all should be doing right now in December when so many agents are in hibernation mode.
I have 2 follow-up questions.
Yep.
Do you know if Brian knocks the same doors or just different doors in the same neighborhood, or is there a strategy that we should kind of be aware of?
He usually knocks in neighborhoods that he's done business in before. Like, for example, there's one neighborhood, Firethorn. He's already gained a lot of traction. I may get this wrong. I want to say 4 or 5 listings this year came from Firethorn. So he's like very protective of that neighborhood, and it's a huge neighborhood. There's thousands of homes there. So he's like, in the Brian Miller impersonate, it's going to take me a while to get rid of, get through that one. So it keeps him busy. And then he's taking over another neighborhood. It's called Long Meadow Farms. And this is how powerful it is. Adelina, there was a guy that I worked with at Farmers Insurance back when I was an insurance adjuster and I knew him back in 2008. And Brian knocked on his door and he's going to take his listing. And I knew the guy. Right. So it's just, I'm proud of our whole team. And right now I have a couple others that I can spotlight as well. What's the other follow?
What's he saying when he goes up to the door?
So his main goal is to get their email address. That way he can put them on market reports.
Okay.
And that's what he does. He literally, we talk just about every day. And I think it's a routine. He calls me after door knocking. And then he tells me how many people that he is going to be putting on market reports. And by the way, this is just like our friend conversation. It's not like any other, like he's not doing it, as from leadership standpoint or anything. He's just saying, I just got done door knocking. I got this many contacts, and he tells me it's an off day or is it an on day. So his main thing is getting people on market reports and letting people know the value of their houses.
What does a pitch like that sound like? Hey, I'm just door knocking the neighborhood. And
Brian, you want to jump in real quick and just do that? Like 30 seconds or less, bro.
Can you mute you? Sorry. Okay,
Hold on.
Dude, you're never supposed to say mute your wife.
hold on. Okay, there we go. Did that work?
It did.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. Every neighborhood is different, depends on what I'm doing. I sometimes honestly, sometimes not honestly. If I don't have a listing or anything going on in a neighborhood, I'm just like, hey, last weekend we did open house here in this neighborhood and 15 people came through the door. So a lot of people looking to move in your neighborhood, look and see if anybody else is thinking about selling. Nobody asked me the address of where the open house was or anything like that. But sometimes I actually do an open house in that neighborhood, so I'm not really lying. And then, of course, the fact is we realtors in Houston did an open house there. So I'm not lying there either. Other times, I just sold a house in the neighborhood last week, went for this much, this many days on the market. We had 20 people come through the door. Everybody wants to be here. This is why they want to be here. Have you thought about selling? And most of the time the answer is no right away. But then they're like, okay, but how is the market? How's this? How's that? I've had people chase me all the way to the sidewalk because they still want to keep talking. And those are the ones that give me their information. And then they start talking and saying, well, I don't want to sell right now, but next year after. My kid's a junior in high school. I want to sell when we graduate. Other people say, many people have said, I would love to sell. I'd love to upsize. I'd love to move, but interest rates suck. And, we have that conversation and, either way I stay in touch with them. I put them in touch with a lender to talk about it, but y'all gonna hate me for this. I don't script practice. I don't make up a script. I just fly by the seat of my pants, basically.
And you do it enough that it gets you results, right?
Exactly.
And you do have scripts because you just literally just said them to us, right? But ultimately, like, you're just being you. You're just being authentically, simply you and doing enough activity. And I love that, Brian.
Yes, ma'am.
Rock on, sir. Rock on. I love it. And just to confirm with you and Jaime, you do touch back on neighborhoods. You don't do it once and then you never go to that neighborhood again.
It depends. Most of the time it's I'll hit the same neighborhood every 6 months. I don't do it like every month, every week. Yesterday I went through a neighborhood where I closed on a house last week and I hit that neighborhood in April. That's how I got the listing. Of course, it took from April to October to get the listing, but I even talked to a couple of people who I talked to before and they were happy to see me and they kept on, they actually kind of wasted some of my time, but whatever. I had good conversations with them. But yeah, I'll go back through a neighborhood more than once, but for the most part, if I've got their information, I'm gonna move on to another neighborhood. I have probably 6 or 8 neighborhoods I'm hitting.
Okay, got it. And what are you taking notes on? Just like a notepad or an iPad or what you doing?
So Cheryl bought me this Remarkable.
Uh-huh.
Amy's gonna love this too. It's basically an electronic notepad because she got tired of all the yellow pads sitting around. And I've actually lost deals because of not remembering what yellow pad I wrote somebody's information down on. So this has saved me from that.
And how quick do you put them? Do you put them in Brevity like the same month, the same week, the same day? Like what's a process that you use? What do you want to,
I tell them to give me till the next morning. I usually put them in every morning. I come in and put things in, sometimes 2 days later, but usually the next morning.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I don't know how amazing I am, but thank you.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Appreciate that. Love that. Okay. I love that spotlight, Jaime. That was awesome. If anybody's ever tried door knocking, Jaime, and maybe they stopped, how would you coach them? Or do you have any feedback for them?
So yeah, I do. And it's exactly what I'm sure Brian will say it. I've said it. Because when people see the outcome or the results from door knocking, they're like gung-ho, they want a door knock, but then they realize what knocking 500 doors a week is like, and it's not easy. And 2 or 3 months later, they're like, oh, I'm not going to door knock anymore. Here's the question to ask anybody that says that, and this is a script, said, what neighborhood were you door knocking? And then they say, why? And then I say, because I'm going to go pick up where you left off, because you're already 3 months in and I'm going to start on month 3.
You crack me up. I love that.
Adelina, one more thing real quick. I want to give Nikki Huber a shout out real quick, just so everybody knows. She was circle prospecting, I don't know, maybe a month ago, found an investor by circle prospecting. And that investor just told her that they want to start sending out 10 offers a week. Now they're lower, Yet she already has $12,000 in commissions coming in GCI, coming in from that one investor. And it just comes from grit. And now that section where those investors are buying, she knows more about that area of town than anybody else I know. And when she circle prospects and talks about that area, I mean, she's just spitting out knowledge. So Nikki, I just want to give you a shout out on that. And then circle prospecting, if you want quick money, all you got to do is just get into activity.
Man, I love that. I love that. I know, Jaime, you're a forward coach. So I've got to ask, while we're all thinking about 2023 and heading into 2023, what advice do you have for our agents now that the market has, doubled or tripled in inventory, right? Days on market have gone up. Sales are down about 30% in most of our markets. Any feedback or any coaching that you'd give us?
Yeah. So the name that comes to mind is Liz Hobbs. She's on Spencer Childer's team up there in Lafayette, Indiana. And I mean, it's just prime example of just getting into activity, staying on task. And she was already, we just had to get her time blocking in order to and stick to it. And everybody should have an accountability partner of some sort that celebrates your wins, that celebrates, when you follow your schedule. And I tell all my clients this, I'm like, and I tell our team this, is like, when you get an appointment, when you get something, put it in Slack, text me, we want to celebrate all this together. Liz, we did a 15th protocol, which 15 protocol, if you don't know what that is, means that if you get to the 15th of the month and you're not on track for your goal, you double down on everything. You double your activities. You just go in full throttle. And what she did is we did a 15th protocol for the month of December. So basically for the month of December, she went 100% full on, doubled her contacts for the week. She has a showing agent, and we started having that tough conversation. She's a high I, and I started having the conversations of, okay, what are we going to hand to Daria? What are we going to take off your plate? That way you can focus on the lead generating activities. But I wanted to let everybody know what the result was, because this was about 4 weeks ago when we started having these talks. 4 weeks ago, if you look at my notes on her, it was disappointing. She was like, I don't feel, I'm happy about the activities. I'm not seeing the results. And just in the last 2 weeks, she's pended 5 deals. She has 5 listings coming up in January. And here's the thing. She just got listings certified a month ago.
Y'all, oh my God.
So her goal is to have 8 pendings going into January. And as of right now, she has 5 out of the 8.
It's amazing when those little adjustments, and we all know little adjustments matter, because how many people have been on a plane and if that pilot adjusts like 1 degree to the right, you're not getting to where you want to go, right? Or 1 degree to the left, you're going a separate direction, right? Those little like 1 degree like adjustments really matter. And Liz just doubled her activity, and all of a sudden everything took off. Imagine that. Love that. Great job.
And she's very transparent. There was 1 week where she was supposed to go out and door knock, and it snowed and she couldn't. And the main thing is that whoever your accountability partner is, or whoever your coach is, be transparent with them. Let them know what happened. And that way they can adjust along the way.
Right on. I love that. Thanks for sharing, Jaime. Appreciate you a ton. I'm going to go to you, Akash, really quick. You're using a really cool source right now to start paving the path for 2023 business. Tell us a little bit what the source is and how you're doing it, and just walk us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I definitely try to target the tenants right now. I was kind of just calling my absentee owners and had a light bulb moment when, multiple tenants basically picked up that live in that property, and just kind of drilled the LP Mama conversation with them, and just kind of figured out they're like, whoa, like, these guys could be a really good, thing for 2023 if we're projecting the same market next year. First time home buyers, we're all begging for first time home buyers right now. So like, that's the perfect way to go get them. So it was just really digging into that. And then after the absentee owner, I went right into my Brivity database. And then, the team's pond account is absolutely filled with so many tenants. So just drilling the pond accounts, having conversations with them, good conversations with them, just about, getting on the pathway of homeownership, because a lot of these tenants have had it on their minds the past 3-4 years. It's just been absolutely insane for them to even attempt to get a property. But times have changed, and a lot of them don't know that, and a lot of them can't even remember the low interest rates. All they're hearing now is like the market has changed and you can get in. The interest rate conversation is rarely one that I'm having with tenants right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you kind of what that conversation may sound like here in a second, but just for everyone to know, number one, when you go into your Brivity, you go over there and you filter and you click on tenants. So you start with the people that you have in your own database that are tenants. Now, it's important as you're building your database that you actually source your clients and like all the things Ben says to do and Bob says to do and our team leaders say to do. Like this is where it comes in handy, because now you can go to your Brivity and you can click on filter and all your tenants will pop up and you can call them and have these conversations. Another really good scenario is most of the teams, they may have a pond account. So you may go to your team leader and say, hey, do we have a pond account? And if we do, can we create ponds of tenants that we can call? Because these are people who, what's happening, their lease is going to come up, right? And they don't care that the rate isn't 3% or 4%. They care that, guess what? They can actually buy a house next year because they don't have to have $100,000 over asking price anymore. So what does that conversation sound like when you call these leads? And if they don't answer, like, do you text them? Do you email them? Like, what's the flow of conversation? Just walk us through that.
So, after getting the intros out of the way, it's definitely just like, hey, we were connected earlier this year or last year about one of our team's lease listings. Just wanting to check to see if you're still in a lease right now, which most of them say yes, absolutely. And then just kind of go through the conversation, how much time is left on that lease, and just have a quick thing just saying, listen, like the past 3 to 4 years have been really crazy for first-time home buyers. Getting your foot into the market was, as difficult as ever, but luckily over the past 4 or 5 months, we have seen first-time home buyers being able to get into this market a lot easier. So it's just something where I asked them, like, if you are comfortable, because I'm like usually say, I know that your rent has gone up, hasn't it? And they're like, yes, like it's gone up, $200-$300. And then I say, like, okay, like, if you're projecting the same for next year, would you be open to spending $200 to $300 more, but putting that towards a house that you own versus a rental again, essentially? And a lot of them says, yes, absolutely. So it's just what I do after that is just LP Mama, find out more about them because I just really want to know what they need. And for a lot of them, just kind of having a little bit of that pre-qualification conversation just about, just give me a brief summary of your finances, just so I know kind of like what I'm working with, who I need to reach out to be able to help you. So basically after that, we'll set up a call with the lender. And that's my buyer's consult too, is with the lender. I normally partner with one of the many lenders that work with us. The three of us will hop on a call together. We'll just kind of go over a few scenarios and then the lender will leave. And then I will stay on the call with the tenant and show them based off of those scenarios, what properties you can afford right now. And then once they see that and it's doable, a lot of them are like, yes, let's get this moving. Let's get going.
Man, okay, I love that. I hope this is the creative part, right? Like the creative part is just like finding a source and going after it, right? The non-creative part is the work, right? Because every day you come out of your office at our noon wrap up and you give the numbers, right? Like, 10 contacts, 2 nurtures or whatever, right? What has your success looked like? Like, or what's your results that you're getting with this underutilized source? And is there anything else that you'd share with us?
Yeah, so your Brivity tasks are absolutely essential. Every single week, my overdue tasks are less than 5. There's no way if I have overdue tasks, they're usually cleared the next day. So setting up tasks for them is really crucial because some of them could be 6-8 months out, but I have conversations with them just like, hey, like there are builders out there that are willing to break your lease and pay that fee. Like, are you open to that if there is something like that as well? Or if it's 8 to 10 months down the line, okay, let's go look at some new builds right now. Like that can be something that will be closing in a while. Rates may be better when you're closing anyway, so it might end up being more beneficial for you. And just making sure that you're not dropping the ball with them, essentially. That's kind of the biggest part, is having your Brivity tasks set for them. And then what was the next part of the question? I'm sorry, I forgot.
It like, so over the last month that you've been working on this, like, do you know how many
Yes.
people you've added to your pipeline this way, or what does that look like?
I mean, so over the past 2 weeks, and a lot of it has come from the pond, I've added over, I would say 30 to 32 people. And most of those are all tenants. I'm just having the conversation, even if their lease is up for a while, they don't want to do it. I just kind of say right away, listen, I'm going to be following up with you, 3 to 4 times a year. I'm going to be following up with you in January or in February just to check in on you, make sure that's okay. And they all say yes. So right away, once I get that confirmation, they're moved over to my database, the tasks are set, just to make sure that, you don't really drop the ball on them with it. But yeah, it's, I've gotten about 3 appointments from it. One went really well. We're starting to go out shopping. His lease is up in March. So I was like, let's go right now. So there's one really active buyer that I have. And there's a lot in the pipeline, I would say, for coming this summer, because most of the tenants are set on that summer cycle. So that's really where coming into this springtime, there's going to be a lot coming out from these tenants.
I love that. Tenant targeting, guys. And I know there's some creative people in this group. I bet you there's social media posts that you guys could figure out how to write to like start building a tenant pipeline. There's a lot of things you can do out there. I hope this just sparks an idea of how you can target tenants so that you can build a really good pipeline for 2023 and get really good people into homes so that you can deliver that dream of home ownership to the people that really, really do need it, right? Love that, Akash. Amazing. Thank you so much. Maria, I'm gonna go to you real quick. Maria is in Midland, Texas. If you guys have never been to Midland, you're probably missing out. But Maria, one of the cool things that Midland and your team is doing is you guys are using the holiday to plant seeds of relationship building touches. So how are you actually doing that? And can you give us examples?
Yes. How are you? Well, we're talking about this topic a lot lately, and one of the things that we're doing is trying to, I guess, read our audience. Because we have different ages and different, I guess, databases. So we're trying to share with people with our database things that are valuable to them, and that, for example, one thing that Laura has been doing is sharing her Instacart link to her sphere and her database. Another agent has been sharing information about local events, especially for a younger audience. Like we have a list of murals that have been, I guess, very famous and successful throughout town. And she's been reaching out to her audience and sharing the information with them. And she's been getting a lot of feedback from that too. And I personally am reaching out to, through sharing events like targeted for families, because I have a lot of, most of my database have little kids. And so we've been sharing all the local, events that have been organized by the city of Midland or other local businesses, like, for example, the Christmas tree lighting that happened only 2 nights ago. So I usually reach out to people and say, let's meet tonight at this, event that is going on. So that's what we've been doing, like reaching out to people, trying to give them some value and just connecting on the same, I guess, note, because everyone is trying to, spend the holidays with family and friends. And we've been doing mostly that, sharing also some of the exhibits that are happening in some of the museums. We're not a huge city, but we still have a lot of things to do. And there are a lot of opportunities for us to do meaningful touches during this season. And I know that.
Are you texting? Are you calling? Are you emailing? What does that look like when you guys are?
It's mostly texting. Most of us have been doing everything via text, but we're also doing follow-ups. Like if, for example, I didn't get to go to that event that was happening Tuesday night, so I did everything via text. And then when I started seeing people sharing the, pictures and videos of what happened that night, I started following up with them, like giving them, some of them calls and asking them, how was the event? How did they like it? If they, brought somebody else and stuff like that. So I think it, even though we're mostly doing text, it gives us the opportunity to follow up via email and calls. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing. Also, what else? We're trying to connect people with new businesses. Like, for example, also Laura shared with us a link to go check out a new place that is called Stretch Zone. So we're trying to connect local businesses with our database so we can have like win-win situations. I mean, they get more traffic being a new business, and then get that opportunity to touch our database. What else? Let me see. I'm trying to remember because we're doing a lot, and I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm gonna post some of these because I'm getting a couple questions like, what does that look like? So
Mhm.
I'm posting these in the chat, you guys. Like, this is what their texts look like when they send these out. So what's like the result of this, Maria? Is the result good conversation, referrals, reconnecting with people, reviving folks in your database? What does that look like? Why do you do it?
Yeah, I think we're trying to reconnect with, most of our database. Sometimes, I know that quantity of touches that we do to our database is very important, but also how meaningful they are. And I think this is not only, it's not the only opportunity to do it throughout the year, but is maybe one of the best. So as I said, like, for example, my database, at least 95% of my database are Latinos, and we're big on gatherings and getting together with people and exchanging gifts and all of that. So, this is a great opportunity, for most of us, because at least I would say also 95% of our agents are in the Latino community, and they have a big audience in that community. So we do all of that. We try to connect people so they can, spend the holidays in a very nice and high note. And
would you do anything differently, or now that you've been doing this for a few weeks and reconnecting with the people in your database, which I think is really smart, you guys. If you didn't write this down, it's all about getting creative and targeting the demographic of your database, right?
Yeah.
Your database. Pamela's will look different from Akasha's different from Maria's, right? Is there anything you would do differently, or any advice that you would give us?
Well, just try to be consistent, the more you do it, the more, I guess, the more presence, and we'll always gain mind share in our database when we're consistent, try to do it. At least I do it 3 times a week, and sometimes people don't save the information and they get back with me. Hey, what is it that you post like 3 days ago? When is this event happening, and all of that? So that gives us, an opportunity to connect or reconnect with them. And that way, when we are again on realtor mode and in January, it will give us an organic way entrance to go after business next year, so it's just an easier way to do it. We have the excuse to do it in a very personal way. And one thing, a lot of things, there are so many things that we can do. Like, for example, I was going through the Eventbrite app last night, and I found a lot of events that we can share with our audience, so there are a lot of things happening every day, every night. So that's one of the things that I'm gonna start doing, sharing more events that are already part of the Eventbrite app. And also, like, for example, as I said, our community, it's huge in gatherings and cooking throughout the holidays and all of that. So I've been sharing some of recipes that we usually do, especially for Venezuelans. We like sharing our recipes and all of that. So I've been working on that, but I'm going to be more consistent. And also for some of us that are like last minute shoppers, I'm going to be creating a list of links that we can so we can get how do you say, electronic gift cards, you know, because I mean I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be one of them, like maybe on the December 23rd or 22nd. I haven't got a gift for I don't know, my list, and I'm gonna be sharing that too. I think it's gonna be very helpful for most of my people. And also Secret Santa ideas. I know that some of them seem a little, you know, silly, but I just want to be in their mind, you know, like this is what I know that we're gonna do anyways during this month. So I'm gonna give you ideas. I'm gonna give you ideas of what you can gift your, you know, your people, and also how you can create these memories with your families and friends. And then one other thing that I'm not a very funny person, but I like humor. So I share a lot of like jokes or memes or stuff like that had to do with the season. So and I always get good feedback from my database when I do that. So that's another thing that I recommend you to do for just to reconnect with people with your database.
You know what I love about this, Maria, and thank you so much. What I love about this, guys, is, you know, often we build our sphere and we're like, what are we gonna ever say to them? Like I can't ask them to like buy a house every month, right? Oh my gosh, it's not about that, guys. It's not about asking people to buy a house every month. It's about staying top of mind and staying in relationship with your sphere and your past clients, right? So I love that. And one thing that I wanted to point out is whatever Tamala says, or whatever Maria says, or whatever Akash says, or Jaime, or Brian, or Nikki, it may not all relate to you, and it's not supposed to. You're not supposed to do it all. You're supposed to pick the thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many you and your team leader have come up with, and you need to go do that. And this is to build on those ideas, right? It's not for you to like be like a ping pong. It's for you to be a bowling ball and knock those pins over. So I love that, Maria. Thank you for sharing your inspiration this morning. Love it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Pamela, I'm going to you because you've been really focused on farming, which is a really cool buzzword, because when people think of farming, I'll tell you what they think about. They think, I'm going to create this plan that's going to include so much print marketing, and that is going to be the holy grail. And the reality is nothing happens with print marketing, and people stop doing it after about 1 or 2 months, maybe if they last that long. So tell us about what you're doing, because you are actually successful with this.
Okay. Hey, everybody. So
And Tamala's in San Antonio, you guys. Tamala's in San Antonio, so hit her up. Okay, go.
thank you. So first, I know that this idea actually came from, I'm not sure if it was a Texas Power Up or from a Place Partner call, but I got the idea of farming your neighborhood. And it was around this time last year. And I remember just being like, I want to do that. And it being like a duh, why aren't you doing that? I moved into my neighborhood about 2.5 years ago. It's still being built right now, so it's not even finished, right? So there are homes that are there that have been there from like 2016, 17, and still building right now. So immediately, I just wanted to be in front of everybody's faces. And to be honest, I take a back road to leave the neighborhood, and nothing grinds my gears more than seeing Open Door, JB Goodwin, Redfin, and all these other ones, and being like, why is that not my sign, right? And I started to feel it. So immediately I was like, I want to know people. I want to get to know people, and I don't know a lot of neighbors. Naturally, believe it or not, I'm a pretty shy person. It wasn't in my nature to be like going up and be like, hey neighbor, what are you doing? Or how are you? Or I live right here. And I really wanted this to be a part of my business and be a part of the community. Also, it helps me give back to the community, and that's something joining the team I wanted to do. So I started with circle prospecting, right? Just making calls, trying to just get a feel of the neighborhood and meet new people, get them on those market reports and give them something without asking for anything at all. So I'll kind of give a call and just say, hey neighbor, this is Tamala. I live right off of Silky Ryan Moonshine, and I'm just calling around the neighborhood because I am in real estate. I'm also a veteran, and I call around like twice a year to all the neighbors to offer free market reports. You guys can use this to protest your property taxes. And even if you need help like doing your homestead exemption or anything like that, I'd love to help. What's a good email to send that to? And a lot of people are just like I had a guy just say, he said, wait, it's free? I said, yeah, it's free. He's like, it does all that, and you're just gonna give it to me for free? And I said, yes, absolutely, for free. He's like, but wait, but what does it do? So I explained again what it did, and he's like, and it's free. Absolutely, no ties, right? So he did go ahead and give me that email. So that does help with nurtures. Also, in the community, we get a newsletter. Newsletters go out every month. So I got with HOA department and was just like, you guys have a bunch of functions. How can I get in? So sometimes they may say, we're throwing this if you want to sponsor water bottles. And I'll make labels that go around the water bottles and they'll hand them out for me. I'm not even doing the work, right? They have market days where you're able to like get a table and set up and talk to people and just say hello. I actually don't set up tables. I go with my book bag full of like stuff, like market reports or water bottles or pens or whatever I can get. And I just talk to people and meet them and tell them where I live on Silky Ryan Moonshine and just say hi and give them something to remember me by. Because you're just giving it to them, they will remember she gave me something and she asked for nothing. Another thing I do, open houses. I always try and host open houses in my neighborhood because I will flood the streets with open house signs. And people are like, I see your signs everywhere. I want to be in everybody's face in any event I can get to. I started taking my little girl to girls groups on Wednesdays just because they have them there to meet other moms. And actually, I have built friendships. Last year for the adults, I did Coquito. And I gave the adults like little bloody IV bags of Coquito with my card. And then I gave the kids candy and just saying, hey, neighbors, great to meet you. So people come back to me or join the market report. Facebook groups. Facebook groups are so huge for me. So like, for example, the Facebook groups don't like you to really market or sell yourself in them. So like yesterday I made a post, it said, manifest your 2023 mantra. And it looked like a crossword puzzle. And the first 4 words you choose out of it would be what you're going to manifest for 2023. And at the very bottom, tamala.bktsanantonio.com was right there. You know, small little things like that is what I try to do, and just being top of mind. Last week I had a huge open house weekend. Like I did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had a ton of goodies left over. So I put a Christmas card with 2 of those leftover open house cookies and a candy cane and a market report with my business card. And I tied them up and I went door knocking. Hey neighbor, and I posted it on the Facebook page. If you see me knocking on your door this evening, open it. I have goodies, too much left over for my birthday. So everybody's like, oh, happy birthday. And as I'm knocking, they're opening the doors. I just saw your post, you know, things like that. And just talking to them and being like, hey, you know, I did have those goodies. Thank you so much. And not asking for anything. And they're like, one of them, hey, can you give me one of those market things that you do? I'd love to. What's a good email for that? And a good phone number, you know, and just meeting that way again.
So I'm curious, Tamala, like, do you have this like on a business plan? Because it's like, yeah, like how do you stay accountable? Because everything is a great idea. And man, we are a company of ideas. I mean, like Elizabeth Gasso says, you know, we are innovators around here, right? We have plenty of ideas. How do you stay accountable and not fizzle out after a couple of weeks? Like what's the plan that you're going to be working in 2023?
Sure. So I wrote it down over here. So like circle prospecting daily in my neighborhood, there's 2,700 homes. So I do at least an hour and a half in the morning of circle prospecting in the neighborhood alone, just trying to get people on the market reports. I also have a time where I do expired and canceled listings in my neighborhood as well. And sometimes, most recently, I got introduced to also in my neighborhood, there's a foreclosure list that I'll also go and look at those. And then I also put into my my plan market day, since it's only once a month, make sure that maybe that Saturday I won't do an open house, but I'll go do that market day in there. And then I do have for team coaching, that's really where I get my accountability right there, that one-on-one. What did it look like this week? What did you hit? What did you miss? How can we keep you going there every week? Really is helpful for me.
Man, I love that. Are you guys inspired? If you're not inspired, go back to sleep, take a nap, wake back up and re-listen to this, because this is good. This is All you gotta do is you just gotta pick something that you have some level of passion.
No, it's she's got Christmas.
Ooh, somebody's real passionate here. I'm gonna mute him though. So anyway, all of that to say, like this was a good power up. I'm gonna end with Brandon here. Brandon, you got something to say? You always
Hey,
got
yeah, I wanted to piggyback.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's just to kind of like give you guys an idea of Tamala's like energy towards her neighborhood. Like, she's not fucking around, right? Like she takes it serious. She is like going for that, as you heard in the layers. But I'll give you a difference, because everyone has driven out of their neighborhood and seen a listing sign, right? So that kills all of us, right? So there was a story, and I just wanted, this kind of gives you like the energy of like, you're still competing in your neighborhood, right? You want to build the mind share, like Maria was talking about. Great ideas. I mean, this was an awesome power up. But I think there, and Tamala, you might be able to tell the story better, but on the Facebook page, someone posted like, hey, I want to sell or something like that. And then you guys know how that goes in the neighborhood, right? You're not the only realtor. So like floods of referral people and stuff were coming out. And then like Tamala just got up from her house and went and door knocked that person as soon as that post went live. Right. Also that when she did that frenzy open house this weekend, that was on her listing in her neighborhood that she took, right? So she's just trying to, come up with these layered ways to do that. But what I love what you said about creativity. A lot of times creativity is to breed simplicity, and that's not always the case. The beginning of creativity is work, right? How can I work more creatively? But the work is the cornerstone of that. And like, she is ruthless in getting in front of people in her neighborhood in a good way, right? But she's not playing around with it. It is her thing, just like it was for Akash and Maria and Jaime, and Brian, right? That's the thing. That's what it feels like to own it and like go for it. And when you do that, I mean, listen to the success stories. I mean, congrats to everybody. But yeah, Tamala's, look, so much so, Tamala, what's the name of your neighborhood and what's the new name of your neighborhood?
Okay, so my neighborhood is called Valley Ranch, but the new name for it is Tamala Ranch. They gave me that in the office.
Right on. I love that. And Brandon, you summed it up really well. Whatever you do, own it. Own it. And a theme that I heard over and over, whether it was from Tamala, Maria, Jaime, Akash, everybody's layering. It may sound like Brian was just door knocking, but he's not just door knocking, right? He is putting them in brevity. He has a market report. Like, they're not dead to him after that, right? Akash is not just going after tenants and calling them once and then hoping for the best, crossing his fingers, right? Like, there are to-dos with that, right? And there are conversations that he has, and he gets on the phone with the lender and the tenant at the same time. There's a lot of layering happening here, you guys. And it's not just, I'm gonna make a video and that's the holy grail. No, you got to layer that with something else and something else. And then you got to do it consistently. Tamala, she got this idea last year, right? So anyway, this was really fun, you guys. We'll do it again soon. Hope that something spoke to you. If it didn't, DM me and tell me what would speak to you so that we can get that person on, right? You guys have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.